Ladies and gentlemen, there's a voice inside every one of us. It whispers when we compromise too much, shouts when we're ignored, and echoes in the moments we let our dreams slip away because we were too busy making everyone else comfortable. For too long, many of us have been told, be the nice girl, play it safe, don't ruffle feathers. The myth of mice is one of the most pervasive and limiting ideas imposed on women, shaping their behavior, choices, and even their identity. From an early age, girls are often taught that being nice is their most valuable trait. They're told to be polite, agreeable, accommodating, and self-sacrificing. While there's nothing inherently wrong with kindness or compassion, the problem arises when niceness is twisted into a tool for control, suppressing authenticity, and diminishing individuality. Being nice is frequently equated with being passive, never disagreeing, and avoiding confrontation at all costs. It means putting others' needs, desires, and opinions ahead of your own, even when it's detrimental to your well-being. Society rewards women for being nice because it often makes them easier to manage, less likely to challenge authority, and more willing to conform to expectations. But let's be clear, being nice in this context is not about true kindness or compassion. It's about compliance. It's about silencing yourself to make others comfortable. It's about dimming your light so you don't outshine anyone else. It's about saying yes when you want to say no, smiling when you feel hurt, and pretending everything is fine when it's not. The myth of nice tells women that their worth is tied to how much they please others. It suggests that to be liked, to be accepted, to be loved, they must be agreeable at all times. It's a narrative that punishes women for being assertive, labeling them as bossy or difficult, while rewarding them for their silence and obedience. This myth is particularly damaging because it creates a false choice: either be nice and sacrifice your authenticity, or be true to yourself and risk being labeled as harsh, selfish, or unlikable. It traps women in a cycle of self-doubt, making them question whether their natural confidence, ambition, or outspokenness is a flaw rather than a strength. What's worse, this myth often goes unnoticed, buried so deeply in societal norms that it feels like a fact of life rather than a construct. It perpetuates the idea that women must prioritize everyone else's feelings, needs, and comfort before their own. As a result, women may feel guilty for setting boundaries, ashamed for expressing anger, or hesitant to take credit for their accomplishments. But here's the truth: real strength, success, and fulfillment don't come from being nice in the way society defines it. They come from being authentic. True kindness isn't about sacrificing yourself. It's about treating others with respect while honoring your own needs and values. It's about being honest even when the truth is uncomfortable. It's about showing up as your whole self, unapologetically. The myth of nice is a lie designed to keep women small, silent, and submissive. It's time to dismantle it, to replace it with a new narrative, one that celebrates strength, authenticity, and courage. You don't have to be nice to be loved. You don't have to be agreeable to be respected. And you certainly don't have to shrink yourself to make room for others. Embracing authenticity means stepping fully into who you are, your values, your beliefs, your dreams, and even your imperfections without apology or hesitation. It's about shedding the masks we wear to fit into others' expectations and allowing our true selves to shine. While it may sound simple, authenticity is one of the most courageous and transformative choices you can make in a world that constantly pushes you to conform. From an early age, we're taught to adapt to societal norms, family expectations, and peer pressures. We learn to behave in ways that please others, to say what's expected rather than what we truly feel, and to prioritize acceptance over self-expression. This conditioning often leads to a disconnect between who we are and who we pretend to be. The result: a sense of emptiness, frustration, or even resentment as we sacrifice our true selves for the sake of harmony or approval. But authenticity isn't just a buzzword, it's a way of life. To be authentic is to live in alignment with your core values and to express yourself honestly, even when it's uncomfortable. It means speaking your truth, setting boundaries, and making choices that honor your inner voice. It's about being unapologetically you, no matter the judgments or expectations of others. Embracing authenticity starts with self-awareness. You have to know who you are, what you stand for, and what truly matters to you. This requires deep reflection, asking yourself hard questions. What do I truly want in life? What values guide my decisions? Am I living for myself or am I living to please others? Once you have clarity, the next step is to take action. Authenticity is not a passive state, it's an active practice. It's choosing to be honest in your relationships, to pursue goals that align with your passions, and to say no to things that don't serve you. It's allowing yourself to be vulnerable, admitting when you're wrong, and embracing your flaws as part of your humanity. Living authentically isn't always easy. It can be intimidating to break free from the expectations of others, especially when doing so invites criticism or rejection. People who are used to the nice version of you may struggle to accept the real you. They may call you selfish, stubborn, or even difficult. But their discomfort is not your responsibility, it's theirs. What matters is that you remain true to yourself, because living inauthentically comes at a far greater cost: your peace of mind and self-respect. Authenticity also empowers you to build deeper, more meaningful connections with others. When you show up as your true self, you invite others to do the same. Relationships built on authenticity are stronger because they are rooted in trust, honesty, and mutual respect. There's no need for pretense or pretending you're loved and valued for who you truly are, not for who you're trying to be. Moreover, embracing authenticity can unlock your full potential. When you stop wasting energy on maintaining a facade, you free up mental and emotional resources to focus on what truly matters. Your creativity flourishes, your confidence grows, and you begin to attract opportunities and people that align with your purpose. Authenticity becomes a magnet for the life you deserve. It's important to remember that authenticity is not about perfection. It's not about having all the answers or never making mistakes. Instead, it's about being real, acknowledging your strengths, admitting your weaknesses, and showing up fully as you are. It's about embracing your humanity with all its beautiful complexities. The world often rewards conformity, but it deeply needs authenticity. It needs people who are willing to challenge the status quo, to bring their unique perspectives and talents to the table, and to lead with integrity. By embracing your authenticity, you become a force for change, not only in your own life, but in the lives of those around you. In a world where so many of us are conditioned to seek approval, the power of respect often goes unrecognized. Approval is fleeting, it's rooted in pleasing others, aligning with their expectations, and earning their validation. Respect, on the other hand, is enduring. It's built on integrity, strength, and authenticity. When you understand the power of respect over approval, you liberate yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to make everyone like you, and instead, you focus on living in a way that commands admiration, even from those who may not agree with you. Seeking approval is a natural tendency. As social beings, we crave connection, acceptance, and belonging. From childhood, we're rewarded for behaviors that align with societal norms. A child gets praise for being obedient, a student gets recognition for conforming, and adults often gain approval by avoiding conflict and staying agreeable. However, the problem with approval is that it's conditional. It depends on meeting someone else's expectations, which can shift unpredictably. Approval asks you to mold yourself to fit others' preferences, often at the cost of your own values and needs. Respect, by contrast, is built on consistency, authenticity, and self-worth. When people respect you, it's not because you cater to their desires or seek their validation, it's because you stand firm in your principles, make decisions with confidence, and remain true to yourself, even when it's not the easy path. Respect doesn't require everyone to agree with you. In fact, people can disagree with your choices and still respect you for your conviction and integrity. The pursuit of approval often leads to compromise, not the healthy kind, where both sides work toward mutual understanding, but the unhealthy kind, where you abandon needs, beliefs, and boundaries to satisfy others. Over time, this can erode your self-esteem and create a sense of resentment. You might find yourself asking, why do I give so much and get so little in return? The answer lies in the difference between approval and respect. Approval is transactional, while respect is transformational. When you prioritize respect, you start by respecting yourself. This means setting boundaries, advocating for your needs, and refusing to shrink yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. It means valuing your time, energy, and talents enough to say no when necessary. Self-respect is the foundation of earning respect from others. When people see that you hold yourself to a standard, they're more likely to rise to meet it. Respect also allows you to build stronger, more authentic relationships. People who respect you don't just tolerate your individuality, they appreciate it. They value your honesty even when it's inconvenient. They admire your courage to make tough decisions, even when those decisions go against the grain. Respect fosters deeper connections because it's rooted in mutual understanding and trust, not superficial agreement. Choosing respect over approval can be challenging, especially in a world that often conflates likability with success. You may fear losing relationships, facing criticism, or being misunderstood. But the truth is, not everyone will like you, no matter how hard you try. Seeking universal approval is an impossible task, and the energy spent chasing it can drain you of the strength you need to pursue your goals and live authentically. Instead, focus on earning respect by living with integrity. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Stand up for what you believe in, even if you stand alone. Be kind, but not at the expense of your own dignity. Be firm, but not cruel. Respect isn't about dominating others. It's about being so grounded in your values that others can't help but take notice. Another key aspect of respect is that it has lasting value. Approval is often tied to trends, popularity, or surface-level interactions. It fades quickly as circumstances change. Respect, however, endures. It's the reason why people remember leaders who made tough decisions, artists who stayed true to their vision, and individuals who dared to defy the status quo. These people weren't always liked, but they were respected, and their impact was undeniable. Ultimately, the power of respect lies in the freedom it brings. When you stop living for approval, you reclaim your life. You stop worrying about whether everyone likes you and start focusing on whether you like yourself. You stop chasing validation and start living with purpose. Respect frees you to be bold, authentic, and unapologetic. Fear and rejection are two of the most common and paralyzing obstacles we face in life. They hold us back from pursuing our dreams, speaking our truths, and stepping into our full potential. But what if, instead of running from these experiences, we learn to face them? What if we saw fear as a guide and rejection as a teacher? The truth is, fear and rejection are not the end of the road. They are stepping stones to growth, resilience, and self-discovery. Understanding fear is a natural response to the unknown. It's your mind's way of trying to protect you from danger, whether that danger is real or perceived. In the past, fear kept us safe from physical threats, like predators. Today, however, fear often manifests as a response to emotional risks, fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of being judged, or fear of rejection. These fears can feel just as intense as physical threats, even though they rarely put our survival at risk. The problem with fear is that it often tricks us into believing that avoiding discomfort is the safest option. It whispers, "Don't take that chance, don't speak up," or "Don't put yourself out there, you'll only get hurt." But the reality is, avoiding fear doesn't protect you, it limits you. It keeps you stuck in your comfort zone, preventing you from exploring your potential and achieving your goals. The nature of rejection is one of the most painful experiences a person can endure. It can come in many forms: being turned down for a job, losing out on an opportunity, feeling excluded from a social group, or hearing a no from someone you care about. Rejection stings because it taps into our deepest insecurities and triggers feelings of unworthiness. But here's the thing about rejection: it's a universal experience. Everyone, no matter how successful or confident they appear, has faced rejection at some point. From entrepreneurs whose ideas were dismissed to artists whose work was criticized to individuals who were told they weren't enough, rejection is part of the human journey. What separates those who succeed from those who don't is how they respond to rejection. Reframing fear and rejection: to face fear and rejection, you must first change how you perceive them. Fear is not a signal to stop. It's a sign that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's an opportunity to learn, grow, and refine your path. Start by acknowledging your fear. It's okay to feel scared. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. Remind yourself that fear is temporary, but regret lasts much longer. Imagine looking back on your life and realizing you never tried because you were too afraid. Would that regret outweigh the discomfort of facing your fear? When it comes to rejection, try to separate the event from your self-worth. Being rejected doesn't mean you're not good enough. It simply means that opportunity wasn't the right fit at that moment. Use rejection as feedback. What can you learn from it? How can you adjust, improve, or pivot? Rejection often redirects you towards something better, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. Building resilience facing fear and rejection requires resilience of mental and emotional toughness that allows you to bounce back from setbacks. Resilience doesn't mean you won't feel pain or disappointment. It means you won't let those feelings define you. You'll acknowledge them, process them, and move forward. One way to build resilience is by embracing failure as part of the journey. Every successful person has failed sometimes spectacularly on their way to achieving their goals. The difference is that they didn't let failure stop them. They kept going, learning from each misstep and growing stronger along the way. Another key to resilience is self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when you face fear and rejection. Remind yourself that you're human and that growth often comes from discomfort. Celebrate your courage for trying, even if the outcome wasn't what you hoped for. Taking action despite fear, the best way to overcome fear and rejection is to take action. Start small if you need to. Take one step outside your comfort zone, then another and another. Each step will build your confidence and show you that fear doesn't have to control you. Say yes to opportunities that scare you. Apply for that job you think is out of reach. Speak up in that meeting where you've stayed silent. Ask for what you want, even if you think the answer will be no. With each action, you'll realize that fear is often a paper tiger. It looks intimidating, but it loses its power when you confront it. The gifts of facing fear and rejection. When you face your fears and embrace rejection, you unlock incredible gifts. You discover strength you didn't know you had. You build confidence not from never failing, but from rising every time you fall. You learn to value yourself not based on external validation, but on your own courage, effort, and growth. Rejection also refines you. It teaches you what you truly want and helps you focus on opportunities that align with your values and goals. It separates what's meant for you from what isn't. We all live by a narrative, a story we tell ourselves about who we are, where we come from, and what we're capable of achieving. This narrative shapes our thoughts, guides our decisions, and ultimately defines the trajectory of our lives. But what if the story you're living isn't the one you want? What if your narrative is holding you back instead of pushing you forward? The good news is that you have the power to rewrite your narrative and change the course of your life. The power of your narrative is more than just the events of your life. It's the meaning you assign to those events. It's the voice in your head that tells you, I'm not good enough, or I always mess things up, or I don't deserve success. These stories often stem from past experiences, societal expectations, or other people's opinions. Over time, they become deeply ingrained beliefs, influencing how you see yourself in the world. For example, a person who failed at a business venture might create a narrative that says, I'm a failure, I'm not cut out for entrepreneurship. Someone who grew up in a difficult environment might believe, I'll never escape my circumstances. These narratives can feel like absolute truths, but they're not their interpretations. And interpretations can be changed. Recognizing the need for change, the first step in rewriting your narrative is recognizing that it's no longer serving you. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. Are they empowering or limiting? Do they uplift you or hold you back? If your narrative is filled with self-doubt, fear, or negativity, it's time to rewrite it. Ask yourself, what beliefs are keeping me stuck? Where did these beliefs come from? Are they based on facts, or are they assumptions I've accepted as truth? Awareness is the key to transformation. You can't change a story you're not even aware you're telling. Taking ownership of your story to rewrite your narrative, you must take ownership of your story. This means letting go of the victim mentality and embracing the role of the author. Life doesn't just happen to you. You have the power to shape your experiences and create a new reality. Taking ownership also means acknowledging your past without letting it define you. Your history is part of your story, but it doesn't have to be the whole story. You can honor where you've been while choosing a new direction for where you're going. Crafting a new narrative. Once you've identified the limiting beliefs in your current narrative there, It's time to replace them with empowering ones. This requires imagining a new story, one where you are capable, resilient, and deserving of success. Start by asking, who do I want to be? What values and goals will guide my life? What kind of story would inspire me to get out of bed every morning? Write this story down. Be specific. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, define what success looks like to you. Instead of saying, I want to be happy, describe the life that brings you joy. Overcoming resistance, rewriting your narrative isn't easy. Your old story has been with you for a long time, and your mind may resist change. You might hear a voice that says, this isn't realistic, or you'll never be that person. This resistance is normal. It's your brain's way of protecting you from uncertainty. To overcome resistance, start small. Take one step toward living your new narrative. If your story is about becoming confident, start by speaking up in a meeting. If your story is about becoming healthier, take a short walk every day. Each small action reinforces your new story and helps it become a reality. Rewriting in the face of adversity, life will still throw challenges your way, but your narrative determines how you respond. When faced with setbacks, remind yourself of your new story. Instead of saying, I failed, so I'm not good enough, reframe it as, I failed, but I'm learning and growing. Instead of thinking, this is the end, tell yourself, this is a new beginning. Your narrative isn't about avoiding hardship, it's about finding meaning and strength in the face of it. Living your new narrative, rewriting your narrative isn't a one-time event, it's a lifelong process. Your story will evolve as you grow, and that's okay. The key is to stay intentional. Regularly reflect on your narrative and ask yourself if it aligns with the person you're becoming. If it doesn't, adjust it. Living your new narrative also means surrounding yourself with people who support your growth. Let go of relationships that reinforce your old story and seek out those who inspire and uplift you. The ripple effect of rewriting your narrative. When you rewrite your narrative, you don't just change your life, you inspire others to change theirs. People around you will see your courage, your resilience, and your transformation, and they'll realize that they too can rewrite their stories. Your new narrative becomes a beacon of hope and possibility. Your narrative is the foundation of your life. It shapes your thoughts, fuels your decisions, and determines the path you walk. If your current story limits you, holds you back, or keeps you stuck in fear and self-doubt, know that you have the power to change it. You are not bound by the past, by others' expectations, or even by your own doubts. Rewriting your narrative begins with awareness, recognizing the beliefs that no longer serve you. It requires courage to take ownership of your story and redefine what success, happiness, and purpose mean to you. It demands persistence to overcome resistance, face fear, and find strength in rejection. And it flourishes through intentional action as you align your choices with the story you want to live. Remember, your narrative isn't static, it evolves as you grow. Life will challenge you, but with each challenge, you have the opportunity to rewrite the way you respond. You are the author of your story, and the pen is always in your hand.